All right, well, welcome to part 2 in this series of dealing with change and uncertainty. Right now, we're going through quite some challenges in the world with the coronavirus, the COVID-19, and it has changed. Like, I'm still kind of like in, I don't know if shock is the right word, but it's like, wow, what is going on? Are people overreacting? I don't know. But it's wild. Like just watching. So I'm one that I generally avoid the news because it induces more stress into my life that I don't need. But during this particular time, I've just wanted to become aware of what's happening here locally where I live, but also I have a lot of interest in what's happening nationally. And the challenges that people are facing around the world, not only through their own, if they've contracted the disease and the challenges that they might be going through there, but also some of the racial profiling that's happening, the, difficulties with jobs, difficulties, accessing healthcare resources. There's so many different challenges that are happening right now around the world. So, how do we face this, and how do we face the unknown future? I keep maybe being, what's the word, Pollyanna-ish about it. Like I have a feeling. My feeling is like, yeah, it will be fine. Like it's not going to be a big deal. I don't really know that, but my assumption is things will kind of work themselves out rather quickly and we'll get through that. So I think I have a fairly positive, mindset about it. At the same time, I don't really know. And other people might have a totally different, take on things. I roll my eyes because, there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of conspiracy theories, like all kinds of things. So if you want to, indulge yourself in that, have at it, it's fine. I think it's just another distraction, honestly, that people are a path that people are going down, an excuse to go down a path to really avoid their own inner pain and avoid their own healing journey. So the invitation I have for us is to allow the difficulties, whatever you're personally experiencing through this, allow them to help you heal, help you address some of the things that maybe you've been avoiding. One of those things is that sense of insecurity and not knowing what the future will bring. In my own life, I've had, especially in the past, 5 years, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of changes happening. And so I think it kind of uniquely has prepared me to share this information with you at this time. Just the different challenges that I've had the opportunity to go through has taught me a lot about facing uncertainty, about financial uncertainty, health uncertainty, and all kinds of things. So what is that, how do we face that with courage, with some sense of calmness? What does it actually look like, and how do we do that? For me, one of the things that has helped is this process of surrender. During uncertainty, there can be a loss of control. And really what that is, this is my own belief, is that we really never had the control to begin with, but our ego thought it did. And our ego has, wanted to maintain control. And now it's being faced with this uncertainty, and you may have experienced this where, and hopefully been made aware of it, but maybe not. But there's this, the ego makes some last-ditch efforts to try to stay in control. And that can be a really agonizing process to go through, right? Until you finally kind of come back to yourself, your true self, and realize just how much you've been trying to hold up all these plates, hold up your image, how you're seen, your workload, the relationships, proving yourself. All these things sometimes can come crashing down in uncertainty, and when the future is unknown, it can be very difficult to know how to face the future. And our ego is really wanting to figure out how to avoid pain and how to control the situations at hand. But right now, I feel like this is a time when there's the changes are such where it's kind of hard to navigate it. It's hard to know if you've been a person who really wants to control everything. You know, things are being disrupted. Systems are shutting down, like the entire network and systems are shutting down. And so there's so much uncertainty about what's going to happen that can bring up a lot of stress and anxiety for people, especially those of us who have really wanted to control things. And it's even if like you don't feel like you're personally stressed out by the situation, but it's more you're frustrated at other people who are panicking, that's even still an invitation to look inward and notice within you why you're triggered so much by that. So, for example, for me, right now, I'm not like super triggered or annoyed by the people who are panicking. I recognize that there's a space for their panic that's needing to come through, that they may not know how to, process, what's happening, how to stay calm. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know the different situations and circumstances around the world. Does the news media hype things up? Yeah, probably, And of course, that's one of the reasons why I don't watch the news, because of the foundation, I believe, of news is really based in a lot of fear. But that's for another day. We can talk about that. The news is helpful to kind of get a snapshot of what's going on around the world. So, anyways, I digress. So, how do we face this uncertainty, right? I think what has helped me the most in uncertainty and facing the unknown is this practice of surrender. And it's really a mindset more than anything else, than necessarily a practice, but it can be a practice. And in a few minutes, we'll do a short, just practice to kind of get maybe the feeling of it, the essence of surrender. But I encourage you to keep working through this practice of surrender. And it's not to give up, to surrender is a tricky word to use, because for some people that might bring up this idea that you're just going to give up, completely and not respond appropriately. But what you're surrendering, I suppose, is the control, the need to control, right? Surrender the results, because really the results are unknown. And I think this process of surrender, I most deeply learned through more of a spiritual practice of, spiritually surrendering to a higher power. And even if you're atheist, you can still practice surrender. Surrendering to the goodness or the all-knowingness of the universe, whatever it is for you, just find something that works. Even if it's surrendering to your own higher nature, your own higher wisdom self, which we all have. And hopefully in this process, you can start to tap into that higher sense of self, where the challenges don't feel so sticky. The uncertainty is actually okay. And that's the space that we want to hopefully taste, is this acceptance of what is and allowing things to be as they are, and stepping into a space of surrender. And on the other side of surrender, and here's, I think, probably the point. On the other side of surrender is the wise response to the challenges and the wise next step. We have gone through, my family and I have gone through past several months, or I don't know, maybe even a year, of facing a lot of uncertainty. And the last part of 2019, it really heightened. Where, the next day it was like, it was literally day by day. And some of the, people that have been highly affected by the crisis right now, it is like literally a day by day thing. And that kind of, intensity really teaches us a lot about our character and really shows us a lot about the conditioned mind. And so the invitation is to learn a simple practice of just surrendering moment by moment, if that's what's needed, and trusting in your higher God, your awareness, the love, the universe, trusting that the next thing will flow as it needs to flow. So in creating this stillness inside of you, or tapping into that stillness, we learn to just pause a little bit more. And this whole series is really about pausing, learning to pause, to discover a wise response. What is the wise step that I can take next? This is how I've been able to cope with a lot of uncertainty in my own life, a lot of the unknown in the future, and just noticing, it becomes almost humorous now, because I've learned to identify when I'm trying to control the future, when I'm trying to avoid pain, right? Avoid circumstances. One of the things that we often do is that we actually focus more on the past as we're looking towards the future. We look at what we're trying to move away from. So part of the surrender process for me has been surrendering that part of me, the mind that wants to fix, that wants to control, and wants to push away and get away from what is. Those things tend not to be very helpful in moving forward. What is helpful in moving forward is tapping into your inner awareness, your wisdom, your spiritual sense of well-being, and moving forward from a place of love and trust. Some might call it faith, I don't know, but it's from a place of looking forward and setting intentions wisely and stepping into the unknown. One of our most favorite songs is on Frozen 2, one of the, Into the Unknown. That really has been the theme for us, for our family, for the past several months. And prior to this experience, that was really it, And now for a lot of other people in this crisis, that has become a reality, that the unknown is just right here, So if you would, just take a moment to sit. Take a moment to kind of feel your body, really. We'll talk a lot about this, but so often in times of uncertainty and high stress, we disconnect from our body. So, in part of this surrender process is actually letting go of trying to figure things out. We get so fixated on what's going to happen, how do I avoid pain, how do I work through this challenge, and we try to, strategize. But this is an invitation here to surrender all of that, to put a pause on that, and just allow it, just allow all the outward circumstances to simply be as they are. It doesn't mean that you're not going to respond to them. But what you're invited to do is just sit in a space where you're letting things be as they are without trying to fix anything. And I know this can be difficult because I've been there, and I still get there. I still get caught. But just take a moment to tap into your body. Tap into the breath and notice the breath. You might slow your breathing down. And it's helpful in this surrender practice to just go through a simple calming of the body. You might start from your head and notice how you can relax your eyes, relax your eyebrows, your forehead, and let each breath bring a deeper sense of relaxation to the different parts of your body. You can relax the cheekbones, the jaw, notice if there's a lot of tightness in the back of your neck. See if you can relax that on the in-breath. Just send loving calmness, relaxing the shoulders. Letting things go from the inside out. Let the surrender process come from within. Surrendering or letting go the tension in your body. It's a very simple place to start. So relax that tension in your shoulders, through the torso, through the back and down to the belly. Continue to breathe in a relaxing, cleansing breath. And on the out breath, allow that tension to be released. You can experiment by breathing out through the mouth or through the nose, whatever is comfortable for you. But just allow a cleansing breath in And the relaxing breath out, letting the tension go, surrendering the tension within your body. Let your arms relax, softening the hands, softening the fingers. Let yourself sink a little bit more into your chair or on the floor, relaxing the legs, all the way down to the toes. Notice if there's any tension anywhere through the legs, all the way down through the feet. Just relaxing and surrendering the tension in the muscles all throughout the body. You might bring your awareness to the right side of your body. Noticing if you can relax even more. And then bring your attention, awareness to the left side of the body. Letting the tension go. Continue to breathe in that cleansing breath and breathe out the tension. Surrender that tension. So you can keep practicing relaxing the body. And when you're ready, you can imagine in your hands, in your mind's eye, you can see yourself holding a ball that represents, or some object, whatever it is for you. It could be any object of your choosing that represents the challenges that you're facing right now, that represent the uncertainty, the anxiety, the stress, the difficult relationships, just anything that has really fixed your attention and has troubled you recently. Imagine that you're holding it, some object that represents that struggle. Get a good feeling of its weight, of its density, of its shape and size. Notice how it feels to be carrying this around. What response does it bring for you? Maybe there's anger about it. Perhaps you want to cry. You feel overburdened. So let that become part of it. Let those emotions and thoughts and judgments about that thing enter into that object. so that you can maybe visualize the strong emotions and the strong thoughts coming out of your body and being placed into this object. On the in-breath, breathe in a cleansing breath, and on the out-breath, let the frustration or whatever emotions are coming up, thoughts, let them be placed in this object so that it becomes part of this object that you're holding. And if it's helpful to access a friend in this meditation, a guide, an angel, a divine being, you might call on that individual now to be with you here, just in spirit. And together, allow this object to be surrendered. To be taken from you so that you no longer have to be the bearer of it. You no longer have to hold this object in your hands. Allow this object that represents the struggle, the uncertainty, and your judgments about it, your fears, your pain. Allow it to be dissolved. And let this higher source of wisdom, or friend, divine being, angel, or angels, let them help you. Let them take it for you. Because this may not be something that you really can do on your own. So allow this support. And in your mind's eye, you can see them taking this. And as they take this, notice how this object dissolves. It simply floats away and disappears. So allow your mind to be okay for this moment, for that surrender process. And notice how it feels in your hands with this object gone. Notice what it feels like to no longer be holding it. Notice what it feels like in your body to no longer have to control, to no longer have to fix things or to figure things out. Just in this moment. It does not mean that you won't address issues as they arise in your life. But in this moment, we can tap into a space that is beyond the challenges of life. So you might open your eyes slowly and notice the sensations of your body as you've gone through this practice. And after this video, I would encourage you to write a few things down, write some thoughts that came to you. It might even help to write some of the strong emotions. If there's anything left that's really been triggered, that's come up for you, write those down on a blank sheet of paper, something that you could probably throw away. But just get those thoughts out if they're still there. And also take a moment, if you're in a state of a little bit more calm and clear thinking, you might take a moment to identify what the next step is. Not necessarily to fix the big problems in your life, but notice what you feel inspired to do next after watching this video, or anytime you practice this meditation. Notice if you feel inspired to, go watch Netflix. I don't know. I really don't know. It could be anything. Don't judge it. But ideally, you'll practice this often and start to notice the inner wisdom of the body, of the needs of the higher self. I said that wrong. It's more of what the inspired next step is and what your higher self is inviting you to do. That intuition. Because oftentimes, as we face the future, an unknown future, when things aren't really clear, we need to tap into our higher selves, our higher place of wisdom, the intuition. And the intuition often tells us things to do, like take a break, rest, go have fun, go do something that actually takes your mind off of the challenges. And when inspiration comes to you, and it will, but it won't come when you try to force it, but it will come when you're least expecting it. Inspiration will come to you on what the next steps you can take, what those can be to face the future. Whatever challenges that it might be coming up for you right now. So often when we're trying to force it, it doesn't come, it can't come, right? We're holding on too tightly. So the surrender process allows us to let go and tap into that source of wisdom that's inviting us to, go get a milkshake, for example, or a green drink, whatever it is, or go spend time with your kids. It's inviting us to do something that's probably not going to fix the problem ultimately or directly, but it actually will, because it gets us in a space, a healthier space, a more holistic space where we can actually address the challenges. So that's the invitation in this section. So I invite you to practice that and let me know what you experience as you do this. Thank you.